Hello, and welcome to the second part of my coronavirus shut-in special episode, Batman Contagion. At the time of this recording, the death toll has hit 14,000 in America alone. Nearly the entire country is on orders to stay at home when possible and use masks in public. And this story is feeling all too real right now. But I decided to do it, and I'm going to stick with it. Just use this as an illustration that while things are very bad, they could be so much worse, and that there's light at the end of every tunnel. When last we left our heroes, Batman was in Gotham, which had just been sealed off under quarantine due to the outbreak of the deadly apocalypse virus. Robin was heading back with a sample of blood from a survivor of the plague taken after his death, while Catwoman and Azrael started tracking down another survivor that they didn't tell Robin about. Let's begin. The issue opens with a story being told about the fishing village the survivors are from being read from the diary of Kendall Stewart. Kendall tells of the plague killing everyone around them while he prevents a gangster named Fong from leaving and spreading the virus. But Fong overtook him as sleep came and escaped. Kendall tells of one other survivor leaving, a woman named Leonore, while every other person in the village was dead from the apocalypse virus. Azrael calls Oracle for information on Fong after finishing Kendall's diary, and Catwoman suggests that they catch a nap while they wait, while wondering aloud who Azrael is talking to. Oracle is a resource for heroes, so Catwoman, more often than not a member of the criminal fraternity, wouldn't know about her. But this marks one of the times, though, where Catwoman's more on the side of the heroes. She has her own unique morality. You can't properly call her a villain or a hero all the time. While they sleep, Tracker finds them and ambushes Catwoman. Azrael throws him off of her. Azrael attacks with its gauntlet's flaming sword, and Tracker defends with his knife until Catwoman stops the fight. The three agree that they should join forces for the time being, as Fong will have an army of guns and they'll need each other to reach him. Catwoman and Tracker agree to split the bounty. Azrael tells them he has Fong's location. Fong is indeed surrounded by an army of guns, and since surviving the virus, he has come to believe he is invincible. He slices into his arm before his henchmen to demonstrate his strength, saying he feels nothing. Azrael, Catwoman, and Tracker parachute down onto Fong's yacht. Azrael is accosted by three armed men, and one of them pistol whips the back of his head. Azrael spins and kicks him, unharmed due to his armored helmet, and leaps, dodging gunfire. From inside a lifeboat, he grabs one of the henchmen and throws him into the other one. He swings down and finishes him off with a kick. The three meet up, having taken care of all the guards on deck. They confront Fong, who, after making a speech about his invincibility, attempts to prove it, and kills himself by stabbing himself in the heart. As the issue ends, our heroes are crestfallen, fearing that Gotham may die along with Fong. This is a very evocative cover, showing Batman unable to help the stricken people of Gotham as being held back by the Reaper. Part 6 begins with Robin telling Batman how he had to parachute into Gotham due to it being sealed and evade the police guarding the river. Robin gives Batman the sample of Kendall Stewart's blood, and Batman begins working with it as he tells Robin how bad things have gotten in Gotham. He tells Robin that right now, real people are dying, but if this continues to spread, they will become mere statistics. He insists that they can't let death turn lives into numbers. Renee Montoya and Harvey Bullock watch the paramedics carrying away Renee's Coast Guard boyfriend, claimed by the virus. Renee seems to have been lucky and not contracted the disease herself, but she mourns his loss. The news reports that the hospitals are overwhelmed, but the CDC has been tracing the path of infection back to one or two alpha victims, all of whom were workers dismissed from Babylon Towers. Renee and Harvey discuss the possibility of a survivor, but the virus has a fatality rate over 90%, and it's doubtful one will be found within Babylon Towers. If there were a survivor, their antibodies would be much stronger inside their body, having been changed by the virus, but outside of the body, the antibodies, like the virus itself, would deteriorate rapidly, so that were the survivor to die from some other means, even recently taken blood might well be useless for the purpose of finding a cure. Meanwhile, Azrael is in the Batcave, giving Batman the blood he took from Fong, the second survivor. Catwoman and Tracker are hunting for the third. Azrael tells Batman that Fong was also dead when the sample was taken. He also tells him that someone tried to use the plague as a weapon in Greenland, and that whoever this was has set assassins on the Tracker's trail. Nightwing shows up at the cave to help. I think everyone knows who Nightwing is, but if you don't, Dick Grayson was the first Robin, and he led the Teen Titans. Nightwing is just his adult identity, which he took up to help him get out from under Batman's shadow. Batman has become so desperate that he has sought out help from Poison Ivy, whom he has asked to carry a vaccine he has created from the blood into Babylon Towers to test it. It's not a cure, it only grants potential immunity from the virus, but Poison Ivy is the only person who could survive the trip, her own body having a much higher than normal range of defenses against all kinds of diseases, due to the same condition that makes her toxic to the touch. Ivy agrees, but she may well have her own motivations, as she does not care much for human life. Outside of Babylon Towers, Gotham is rioting, and the police are nowhere in sight. Luckily, Robin and Nightwing are there. By sealing Babylon Towers, the people inside went into voluntary quarantine. It will be Nightwing and Robin's job to enforce it. Under the street, Batman helps Ivy make her way into Babylon Towers through the sewers, as Robin and Nightwing engage the rioters above. Robin pleads for sanity from the mob, but they literally spit in his face. He loses it and clocks a man with his staff. Commissioner Jim Gordon is not officially in charge, but his people ask him to lead them anyway. Robin and Nightwing have their backs against the wall when suddenly help appears in the form of Huntress. The Huntress is Helena Bertinelli, a daughter of the mob, turned into a weapon against them after her parents were claimed by mob violence. Below the street, Ivy has made it into the tower's basement. On the news, it is reported that some are calling for the bombing of Babylon Towers to try and cleanse the infection, and the governor may call in the National Guard to keep the rioting citizens from hurting themselves too much. Inside Babylon Towers, word is spread quickly that a woman has arrived with a cure, and everyone rushes to the conservatory. Huntress and the boys have their hands full with the angry mob out on the street, and now all three of them have their backs against the wall. Inside, Poison Ivy is claiming to have a cure and selling it to the highest bidder, while the heroes outside finally catch a break. The crowd stops dead as they see a familiar shadow on the wall. Batman tells them to disperse, and they instantly comply. Batman tells the other heroes that riots are breaking out everywhere, that these people will soon be back in greater numbers. There's a mob marching on City Hall to demand that the mayor bomb the towers. Batman plans to rally the Gotham police to help hold the towers for long enough to see if the vaccine works, and if it doesn't, then the entire city faces death. Batman and Commissioner Jim Gordon are the staunchest of allies in the war against Gotham's criminal underworld, but can even they face a city on the edge of the inferno? Part 7 begins with a writer inside Babylon Towers recording a message for his agent, telling the story of the outbreak. He laughs because his agent will make millions while he lies dead and rotting, because death sells. The writer muses to his agent about the similarity between his own situation and Poe's Mask of the Red Death, except that it backfired on them. In the conservatory, Poison Ivy is dispensing the vaccine to whoever brings her the most valuables. She kicks a man in the face for trying to give her credit card, insisting on things with real value. The writer gives her his $5 million advance check in exchange for a dose of the vaccine. On the streets of Gotham, it's open season for crime as the police are too busy to respond to alarms. Luckily, Batman isn't, and he, Nightwing, and Huntress quickly mop up the thugs who tried to rob a jewelry store, shielding themselves from bullets with a bulldozer. Batman was at a nearby lumber yard to get materials to barricade the streets leading to Babylon Towers. Inside, Ivy orders the resident to load up a Rolls-Royce with her treasures. She continues giving out doses, but the writer sneezes, indicating that the vaccine may not work. Commissioner Gordon tries to hold the line against the angry mob of people who blame the rich people of Babylon Towers for the plague. He manages to convince the crowd to use their energy for good, to seek out the nearest hospital or police station and see how they can help. Thankfully, the crowd listens to him. Jim Gordon still commands a lot of respect in Gotham, for good reason. The crowd is turning on Ivy after finding out the vaccine doesn't work, but she keeps them on the hook by promising to share her own natural immunity and begins selling kisses, kissing the writer to prove she is indeed immune. To anyone who knows her, though, this is a lie, as her kiss is fatal. But desperate people will jump at any chance to survive, though, and her ploy works. Batman decides that he's waited long enough, and he prepares to enter Babylon Towers, although he has no protection against the virus. Gordon sees him entering and rushes to help. The writer has figured out that he's not going to survive after all, but sees no point in telling anyone the truth, figuring that she's only killing dead people anyway, and her method might even be kinder. As Batman enters through the sewers, Nightwing, Robin, and Huntress are trying to scatter a mob on the streets above. However, Robin faints, falling off the roof, and Nightwing and Huntress quickly rescue him. Batman tries to warn the crowd that poison ivy is lethal, but they are not thinking straight, and they attack him at her command. Outside, the heroes discover that Robin has been infected by the virus, as they find blood seeping out of his mask. Batman evades the angry men by swinging on a chandelier, grabbing Ivy, and admonishing her for using dying men to do her dirty work. He asks her if the vaccine worked, but she refuses to answer and kicks him off of her and takes a hostage. She tells him that she's glad the people are all going to die, that the plants will reclaim Gotham when they're gone. Jim Gordon saves the day by knocking her out with his gun. He tells Batman that he heard on the way that the vaccine was useless. He tells Batman that he both hates Gotham, the crime and the crowds and the filth and the corruption, but that he also loves Gotham, that it's a part of him, the way that it's a part of Batman, and that of all the regrets he's had in his life, he'll never regret that he and Batman fought in the same war. As Nightwing returns to the Batcave with Robin, Huntress is left alone against the mob. She is unable to stop them from setting fire to Babylon Towers. Part 7 ends with the writer wondering which is worse, the virus, the fire, or Poison Ivy's kiss. One or the other kills him, and his last words are that while he made fun of religion in his past books, he is praying to God now, but that he doesn't think that God cares. The cover to Part 8 shows Batman struggling against the people of Gotham themselves, while all of them try to stay alive in the grip of death as the city burns behind them. Nightwing arrives at the Batcave, carrying Robin and desperately calling for Alfred. Nightwing wants to tell Robin's father what has happened, but he doesn't know that Tim Drake is Robin, and Robin refuses to tell him while there's still a chance he could survive. Batman and Jim Gordon must now escape the burning apartment complex. The lower floors are on fire, so they must head upwards. Batman always has a plan, and he has brought a special bag to carry Ivy out in to avoid her poison touch. He knew it would come to this. Tim has been set up in the Batcave's medical facility, which is the equal of any hospital. Alfred has him on a nutrient feed and sedatives. Nightwing asks if there's anything he can do, but Alfred tells him all he can do is go and help Batman. Alfred is very experienced in patching up Batman. Tim Drake is in good hands. Batman and Gordon are stopped by a man with a gun who tells them that his wife has died, and with so many people dying he's afraid he won't be able to find her. He tells Gordon he's sending him ahead into death to find her and to tell her to wait for him. Diving quickly and drawing his gun, Gordon fires, killing the man with a headshot. Batman tries to comfort him, saying that he did him a favor and saved the man from an agonizing death. Gordon tells him that he'd know how wrong that was if he'd ever kill the man, that nothing makes it any easier. Gordon throws a chair out the window, and Batman asks Jim how much he trusts him. Gordon asks if he's joking. After all they've been through over the years, Jim Gordon probably trusts Batman more than anyone else in the world. Batman jumps out of the window, using a bat rope to descend to the ground with Ivy and Gordon in tow. Meanwhile, Oracle receives a call from someone unexpected. Catwoman hit redial after Azrael called her last time and saved the number. Oracle guesses who she is quickly, but agrees to help her this one time. Catwoman tells her there was a third survivor and gives her the name Leonora Wee. Oracle gives her a location and tells her the number she's using became inactive as of 2 minutes ago. Catwoman agrees it will be the first and last time. Gordon arrives on the ground at the towers, finding Bullock and Montoya. He asks where the other police are and finds out that they all went home to their families. He can't fault them for that. Renee asks him what they're going to do, and he responds that all they can do is watch it burn and bear witness. Speeding in the Batmobile, Batman asks Alfred for an update. Alfred tells him that Tim Drake doesn't have much time. Alfred suggests that Batman take his railway transport, but it's too late for that. Batman has to evade the National Guard and break through their roadblock to return to the Batcave, which lies outside of Gotham proper. He triggers the Batmobile's nitrous feed and leaves them far behind, the jet propulsion burning a trail in his wake. Part 8 ends with Batman telling Nightwing that they're fighting an enemy they can't see, that they can't lock up or keep out, and that by now everyone in Gotham knows someone who's been struck down. He tells them that they will all share the loss. We'll all be touched. Every one of us. Well, I can't think of a better way to end this second chapter than to share that sentiment. We will all share the loss from our own pandemic. I hope it doesn't get too bad here or in your area, But more than that, I hope we get a national response organized before it's too late. I'll have part 3, the finale, finished in about a week. Same bat time, same bat channel.